Hi, first and second class. I hope you guys are doing well. I wanted to share our next project with you for art, and it's a pretty fun project, so I hope you guys like it, but there's kind of a little bit of a surprise. So we don't want our moms to be listening to this video because it's gonna be for them. So so if your mom is around and you need help, maybe we could ask dad or brother or sister or somebody else to help us with this project besides mom, because this is going to be something for Mother's Day, which is coming up. So we're going to do art plus Mother's Day. Okay, so hopefully you guys are not around mom. All right, we're going to get started. So this project that we're going to do is inspired by an artist. His name is Robert Indiana. And he did this sculpture right here. So we're just gonna look at this one piece for him. We're not gonna look at his other pieces for this project. So this is one of his sculptures and it's in New York and it's really big. You can see these people are, these are, normal people and they only go up to about halfway on the sculpture. So it's about 3, people lengths high. We're going to kind of do this project. We're not going to make a sculpture, but we're going to do it on a piece of paper. So it's not going to be huge like his, but it's going to have some really cool effects. His sculpture was so famous because of this O. He tilted it sideways, and a lot of artists really find that interesting that he just did something different and it's so large. So we're going to kind of draw inspiration from this piece to make our own project. So I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, so what you'll need for this project before we get started is a pencil. You will need a white piece of paper. If you want to do a larger piece of paper, you can, but I just have the normal size paper. You will need crayons and watercolors. So I hope you guys all have that at home. And when we watercolor, you'll need a paintbrush and water. So I'm going to run through it really quickly. Just how we're going to start. So I'm going to tilt you down. So we want it to say love. So we want it to be 4 pretty equal sections. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold our paper. So the easiest way to get those equal sections is to fold it. So we're going to fold it like a hamburger down the middle and crease it. And then we're going to open it. And we are going to go the other way, so hot dog fold. So we have our 4 equal sections. And if you want to go over these with your pencil, you can, just so you can see it better. If you don't want to, you don't have to. I'm going to do that so you can see the sections a little bit better. On the camera. Okay, so I have my 4 sections just like Robert Indiana has for his love. And I guess you guys can probably take a guess at what we're going to write on here. We are going to write love because we all love our moms. So we are going to write L-O-V-E. And I'm going to show you a really easy trick on how to write those block letters because Robert Indiana had those block letters. So they weren't just a straight line, they had thickness to them. So we're going to go over a really easy way on how to make those block letters. So in the first box here, we're going to write L. And so we are just going to make a simple L. And you want it to kind of be floating in the box. You don't want the bottom of the L to touch the bottom of the line because remember, around this, we're going to make our block letters. So this is a simple way on how to make block letters if we struggle with that. If you know how to make block letters, then you don't need to watch this part. But a lot of us struggle with making those box letters. So this is a simple way. So you start out with just the L. And then what we do is we're going to go around it with that box. So we're going to make a box around our L. Okay, so you can see it. So around that L, I'm going to make a box. And I want that L to fill up a good amount of my box. I don't want to have my big box here and then have a little L. We want the L to fill up that box. So I have my first line, and then around that, you can see I drew my L. So when you're ready, you'll come back and erase the inside L. And I'm going to do this for all the letters, so if you're still confused, you'll be able to see it. So now I have my block L. Same thing with the O. The O is a little bit trickier. So I'm going to draw my regular O, just what a normal O would look like, and then I'm going to draw the inside. And the outside O. And we want the O to be pretty big because just like Robert, Indiana, it was kind of interesting. So if you want to make your O extra big, or if you want to put your O slanted, you can do that. So I drew around my first line, and then I'm going to come back and erase that first line because we don't need it anymore. So I have my L and my O, and we can guess what's next, our V. So it's a V, a normal V. And then I'm going to draw my box around it. And you want to take your time on the letters. The letters will take a little bit of time. But if you go slow, that definitely helps. So I have my V. And I'm going to make my E. And you know what? I want my E, since these are pretty much all capitals, I want my E to be capital. You can make a lowercase e, or you can make a capital E. It does not matter as long as we're spelling the same word, and that's a little bit off, so I'm going to erase that. So I'm going to make a capital E. And remember, you draw the letter first, normal, and then you add the box around it. So I have my normal E. And now I'm going to add the box around it. And remember, you want to fill up that whole little section because it doesn't look as good when you have that big box and a little letter in it. It doesn't look as interesting. So we want to fill that whole box up. Okay, so I drew my E and I erased the inside. It's a really good trick. It takes a little bit of an extra step to do that, but that way you make sure that your letters look like you want them to. They look like that square. Okay, so I have L-O-V-E. Now what we're gonna do, I'm gonna tilt you up really quick, is we're gonna talk about how we're gonna color this because we're gonna use certain colors. So we're gonna talk about this really quick. So when we go to color, we are gonna use those crayons that I was talking about earlier. So when we color our letters, we're going to use the crayons, and we are going to do complementary colors. So I have this little color wheel pulled up, and it talks about complementary colors. So complementary colors mean that the colors are opposite each other on the color wheel. So when we use this for our L-O-V-E, it's going to make it pop. It's going to make it super bright, and it's going to make it really interesting when we use those complementary colors. Okay, so on my color wheel, we have the opposite colors. So green's complementary color, opposite of it on the color wheel is red. That's when you see like Christmas colors, a lot of it, the times it's green and red. That's complementary colors. Purple and yellow are opposite, so those are complementary. Orange and blue are opposite, so those are complementary. So if I choose a green crayon to color my L, the background of my L is going to be red. So I'm going to use my watercolor in the background to color that square red. Okay, you can do all the boxes the same, or you can do them all different. And it might be a little bit confusing now when I'm talking about it, but you'll see what I mean when I start to color. So let's say that I want to do blue. The background of my letter would be orange. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing this. And we are going to tilt this down and you will see exactly what I mean. So let's say that I wanted to start out with my L and I'm going to color it blue. And we want to use crayons because it makes the resist. We have used resist before in class and we know that the watercolor doesn't want to touch the blue or doesn't want to touch the crayon because it's got that wax in the crayon. So we want to use crayons. And we are going to color our L nice and neat. And I'm probably only going to do a couple letters just so you can see what it looks like, and then I'll post the final picture. Because I don't want to take up too much time coloring all these in. So I'm going to very neatly color in my L with the blue, and we talked about what's the complement of blue is orange. So when I go to watercolor my L square, I'm going to use orange, and we will see that where that crayon is, the watercolor will not touch it. So it makes kind of a cool resist because of that wax. Okay, so LO, and then maybe I want to use purple for my next one. So I'm going to go around the outside of my O with that purple, and you can also do the little dividers with that crayon too. If you have different colors of blue and you want to add patterns, so let's say I use this blue crayon for the L, and maybe I have a darker blue and I want to add some patterns. You can add some patterns if you like the way that looks. This crayon isn't working as well as I want it to, but you can add patterns. I kind of like the way it looks with just the solid color because our artists use that solid red. So I kind of like the way it looks with solid colors, but it's your project. And if you think that your mom would like that pattern color or that pattern on there, then do that. Because remember, this is kind of art plus a project for our mom. Okay, so I'm going to finish coloring this O, and then I'm going to show you how to watercolor, which we should all have quite a bit of practice with. If you don't have watercolor, you can use the washable markers. So you color the background with that washable marker, and then you just use water to go over it, and it will do the same thing as watercolor. It'll kind of blend and look like the watercolor. Now I'm going pretty quickly on this O just so you guys don't have to sit here and watch me color. I want you guys to be super neat with this because that's part of it. We want those letters to be colored as neatly as we can. Okay, so I have 2 colors for my 2 letters so far. You would finish all of your letters and then you'd be ready to watercolor. I'm gonna watercolor now just so you can see what that looks like, okay guys? So I'm gonna grab my watercolors, I got my water, and I have my paintbrush. So we talked about earlier, let's share it one more time. I might leave this up. My complement to blue on the opposite is orange. So I'm going to be painting this first square background orange. Okay. So I'm going to get my watercolor wet, and I'm going to carefully paint. And you can see, just like we expected, where that crayon is, my watercolor does not touch it. If you want to use a couple different shades of orange, like if you have a couple different types of orange, that could look really pretty for the background too. I'm only painting the blue square orange because orange is only blue's complement. So I'm not going to paint the purple one orange. I'm only painting the blue one. go around it. I got a little bit on my table, and that's okay. So you can see my L square is painted orange. If we look at our color wheel, the complement to purple, which is what I did my O, is yellow. So the background of that square is going to be yellow. And I'm taking my time. The crayon really helps us be a little bit, you can almost not really be messy. You don't want to be messy, but if you make a mistake, if you color with the crayon, it will be really helpful. It is really helpful because that watercolor doesn't want to go where that crayon is. So if we accidentally go over our lines, it doesn't look as messy. Okay, so you could keep doing that pattern. You could switch it up. You could color your next one. Maybe you want to switch it, and maybe you want to color the V yellow and have the background be purple. Maybe you want to have this letter be orange and the background blue. So there's a lot of different ways you can do it. You just want to do the opposite color on the color wheel for the background. So I will share this color wheel with you guys, and I will share the finished project with you guys. I think it's a pretty easy project, and it looks really nice when it's finished because it's super bright. So let's take a look really quickly. All right, so we have those 2 squares done, and that was pretty quick. And like I said, if you want to add those patterns in there, you can. I think that patterns look nice too. All right, friends, so I will share this finished project with you, and I will share that color wheel. But remember, it's a surprise, so hopefully our moms like it. All right, friends, happy drawing.